My friend Kevin Avery and I met him at a film festival a couple years ago, and he and I had been looking for a project to collaborate on. And we'd floated a few ideas past each other, and our schedules really didn't sync up. At this film festival, he had a live-action version of this film, Thugs the Musical, and besides that, he had a soundtrack for it, and on that CD were a couple different tracks, and we talked about maybe taking one of those tracks and making it into an animated short. So he sent me the CD, I listened to the tracks, and Drive By just felt like that was a good candidate for that, given that it kind of has a complete story within that song, and a lot of distinct characters that I felt like I could do a lot with animation-wise. So we talked about it and just decided to give it a shot, and the rest is history. This was one of my first collaborations. Typically on a project I'll animate, write, and voice the whole thing. But Kevin is so talented and I love his comedy that this was just a great opportunity for me to work with somebody that I admire, and in doing so I learned a lot. I would say that both of our sensibilities tend to push what would be considered safe as far as humor. I kind of feel like comedy needs to push the boundaries a little bit, and sometimes that can make people uncomfortable, and sometimes it can outright offend people. I certainly don't take on projects with the intent of offending people, but I really just want to make stuff that makes people laugh and makes them think a little bit, and I kind of feel like we did that with Thugs. I've been drawing and writing and kind of joking around my entire life, and those have always been kind of separate things that are part of what make me. And as I got into my 20s, I found that you can actually combine all those qualities into one art form, and that's animation. There's definitely times where I'm in my studio where I kind of start to go a little crazy, because you're in there for so many hours on end and kind of disconnected from the world, kind of toiling away on your computer or drawing stuff, that when you finally finish a project and are able to see how people react to it, it kind of reminds you why you put in those crazy hours. Yeah, I have a webisode showing from a series that's on my website called The Crazy Misadventures of Christ. The episode showing is Joe Finds Out, and this is an episode about Joe finding out that his wife Mary is pregnant. I've just always kind of been fascinated by that story and thinking about what it would be like if I were to find out that my wife was magically pregnant without me doing anything. It just seemed like that was a story that could lend itself to some comedy. So I wrote a script, showed it to a few people to see if it was too much, or if it was funny, or if it was just me who thought this was interesting. And I showed it to a few people and they laughed, so I figured I'd give it a shot. I've been in festivals around the country, but there's just something special about being one that's where I live and where I consider home to be. I feel like locally the film industry here has just kept growing and getting better and better, and I definitely have an appreciation for the community here. And I feel like this festival is kind of a metaphor to that, where every year this festival gets better and better and the quality of the films improve, and it's just kind of, it's just great for me to be a part of that, and I'm very proud of it.